Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. In the last session we discussed about one of the most basic, one of the most interesting and also one of the most important topics in English grammar, that is, we discussed about sentences. In this we saw the framework of a sentence and we also discussed that how, depending upon the use, sentences are classified into 4 different types. Today we are going to discuss the second session, the second half of the same topic. So dear students, I am Ms.Tehseen Mistry, an assistant teacher in Anjuman Islam's A.A.K English Secondary School, and today we are going to discuss the second part of our topic, sentences. Before we come to the topic, let us first discuss about this very simple part of speech. We all have heard about conjunctions. Yes, conjunctions are words that connect sentences, clauses, or different words together. So, depending upon the work that they do, we can also say that conjunctions are connectors or they are joining words. They join two sentences or two words together. Now these conjunctions are again of two types. The very first being coordinating conjunctions and the second being subordinating conjunctions. The coordinating conjunctions are basically those which join two independent clauses together. Independent clauses actually means two sentences which are complete on their own. So when we join two complete sentences together with the help of any joining word, that joining word is the coordinating conjunction. Now there are many different conjunctions. Of these, there are total 7 coordinating conjunctions. And as we can see over here, these are the 7 coordinating conjunctions. The first is for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. The very simple way to remember these 7 coordinating conjunctions is by the use of this short form. The short form is fan boys. In this, F stands for, A stands for and, N stands for nor, B stands for but, O stands for or, Y is yet, and S indicates so. So isn't this easy to remember these 7 coordinating conjunctions? Simply remember the short form fan boys, and then pat comes the reply that which are the 7 coordinating conjunctions. Now let us understand how the coordinating conjunctions join two meaningful or two independent sentences together. So here is an example. She was unwell, so she did not come for the practice. Now if we look at this complete sentence, this sentence has 3 parts. 2 are the independent clauses and 1 of course is the conjunction. Now this first half, she was unwell. This is the first independent clause. First independent clause means that if we read this sentence alone, she was unwell, we understand the complete meaning of this sentence. And so this is called the first independent clause or the first meaningful sentence. Similarly, the second half, she didn't come for the practice. Again, when we read this sentence on its own, we understand its complete meaning. So we can clearly state that this is the second independent clause or the second meaningful sentence. Now, because we have joined these two independent sentences or these two meaningful sentences with the use of this conjunction so, we say that so is a coordinating conjunction, or you can say that this conjunction so is performing the work of a coordinating conjunction. So as per the definition, the conjunction which joins two independent clauses or two meaningful sentences together is called a coordinating conjunction. Coming to the second type of conjunction, it is the subordinating conjunction. Now, the conjunction which joins one independent clause, that is one meaningful sentence, and one dependent clause, that is one incomplete sentence together, is called a subordinating conjunction. The subordinating conjunction always introduces a dependent clause. It means the dependent clause always begins with a subordinating conjunction. Now the list that we see here are few of the subordinating conjunctions. They are because, so that, since, before, after, until, till, when, as soon as, whenever, while, unless, if, even if, in case, though, although, even though, whereas, and the list goes on. So let us understand how the subordinating conjunctions work with the help of a sentence. The sentence is, I will inform you as soon as she arrives. Now here in this sentence, the first half, I will inform you, is an independent clause. It means I will inform you. When we read this sentence, it gives a complete meaning, and therefore this is the independent clause or the main clause of the sentence. Coming to the second half. Now remember the criteria. A subordinating conjunction always introduces a dependent clause. So when we read the second half, we have to read along with the conjunction. As soon as she arrives. So this here is the dependent clause, or you can say it is the incomplete sentence. As soon as she arrives. Then what happens? We have not mentioned anything here. So this part of the sentence starting with the subordinating conjunction is your dependent clause or your incomplete sentence. So because we have a main clause and we have a dependent clause which have been joined by the use of a subordinating conjunction, then we will classify the sentences depending upon the use of these conjunctions. So for now at least we know that conjunctions are joining words, and there are two types of conjunctions. The very first being coordinating conjunction. There are 7 coordinating conjunctions, and we can easily remember them by the use of the short form, that is fanboys. Coordinating conjunctions are those words which are used for joining two meaningful sentences together. The second is a subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunctions are those words which join one meaningful and one incomplete sentence together. The incomplete sentence is your dependent clause, and always the subordinating conjunction will introduce the dependent clause. Now let us come to the topic of the day. According to the form or according to the structure of a sentence, sentences are classified as simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences, and together they are called kinds of sentence. Now let us see what each of these actually mean. The first is a simple sentence. As the name suggests, a simple sentence is actually very simple to understand. A sentence that contains one independent clause, that is, a sentence which contains a subject, a verb, and an object, is called a simple sentence. So, to simplify this, we can say a sentence which has no conjunction and it can stand alone on its own. A sentence which can give complete meaning by itself is called a simple sentence. So let us understand this with the help of examples. It is raining heavily. And the second is, we had gone for a family picnic. So here in the first sentence, it is the subject. We have already discussed in the last session that the sentence, be it any sentence, always starts with the subject. So here this word it is the subject of the sentence. The next comes verb. So this word is raining is our verb. And then finally heavily becomes the object. So here we have one subject, one verb, one object. There is no conjunction here and still the sentence is complete. It gives a complete meaning. So this sentence is very well a simple sentence. Similarly, in the second sentence, the word we is the subject. Had gone is your verb, and finally for a family picnic becomes the object. So again here in this sentence we have a subject, a verb, and an object. There is no conjunction and still the sentence is complete. So this sentence also is a simple sentence. Now coming to the second kind of sentence, it is a compound sentence. A sentence that contains two independent clauses which have been separated, or you can say joined, by a coordinating conjunction is called a compound sentence. So when you have a sentence, in the sentence you have a conjunction and the conjunction is joining two meaningful sentences together, then the sentence is a compound sentence. For example, John is watching TV and Jack is eating noodles. Now here, the first half of the sentence, John is watching TV, is your independent clause number 1, or you can say it is the first meaningful sentence. In the same sentence, we have independent clause number 2, that is, Jack is eating noodles. Now these two clauses are complete, they are meaningful, but still they have been joined with the help of a coordinating conjunction. So when you have two independent clauses which are joined by a coordinating conjunction, then the complete sentence that you finally get is called a compound sentence. Again, the second example here, she did not cheat on the test for it was the wrong thing to do. So here again we have independent clause number 1, that is, she did not cheat on the test. This sentence is giving us a complete meaning. The second half, it was the wrong thing to do, Again, this is your independent clause number 2 because this sentence is also a meaningful sentence. Now, these two meaningful sentences have been joined by using a coordinating conjunction, that is for. So, this sentence again is a compound sentence. So, always remember, when you say compound sentence, there will be two meaningful sentences which would be joined by the use of a coordinating conjunction. Finally, we come to the last kind of sentence, that is the complex sentence. A sentence that has an independent clause and a dependent clause is called a complex sentence. And these two clauses are separated, or you can say they are joined by a subordinating conjunction. So when you have a sentence, in the sentence you have one main clause, that is meaningful sentence, and you have one subordinate clause, that is incomplete sentence, and the two sentences are joined by any one of the subordinating conjunctions, then that sentence is a complex sentence. Let us consider the examples here. The first is, because the coffee was too cold, I heated it in the microwave. Now in this sentence, this word because is a subordinating conjunction. Okay, we have already seen the list. So this word because is a subordinating conjunction. The criteria of a subordinating conjunction is that a subordinating conjunction always introduces your dependent clause. So this conjunction because is introducing this entire clause here till the comma that we can see, because the coffee was too cold. Now this sentence, when we read or when we listen, it sounds incomplete. So because the coffee was too cold is your dependent clause, or you can say it is the incomplete sentence. Whereas when we talk about the remaining part of the sentence, I heated it in the microwave, this is an independent clause. That means it is a meaningful sentence. So here in this sentence, we have one meaningful sentence, we have one incomplete sentence, and the two sentences are joined using a subordinating conjunction. So we can clearly say that this sentence is a complex sentence. Similarly, the second example here, she believed in fairy tales when she was younger. Here, she believed in fairy tales is actually an independent clause. It is a complete sentence. Whereas this word when is the conjunction and it is a subordinating conjunction. Now, subordinating conjunction always introduces your incomplete sentence or your dependent clause. So when she was younger is the dependent clause. So here in this sentence we have one main clause, we have one dependent clause, and we have a subordinating conjunction as well. So this sentence is a complex sentence. So I hope that today the topic that we discussed was quite easy for all of you to understand. So we have discussed about conjunctions, that is joining words. We discussed about the two types of conjunctions, subordinating and coordinating, and we also saw that how, depending upon the structure or the use of either of these two conjunctions, sentences can be classified into three different kinds: simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentence. So this is all for today. Thank you very much all of you, and have a great day ahead.